going over cuts 3 and 4. Chapter 2. So going over cuts 3 and 4. Last week we practiced 1 and 2. Today we're going to practice 3 and 4. And 3 and 4 are what cuts?
You mean the downside up hook, downside up cut?
What did you say, Hogan?
Ascending cut, right?
Ascending cuts, exactly. So you both said the same. Are ascending cuts. Very good. Perfect. Okay. So they are rising cuts. So to do cut 3, I'm actually going to start with. I'm going to do this in facing the camera. I need to start on inside guard. I'm going to drop the point here, and basically align my cut into almost like a 45-degree angle going up. Then, if you noticed, all my 3 fingers, the same 3 fingers that I was using to cut, they're still going to be, released. So I'm going to use these 3 fingers to then basically cut all the way back up, and basically, well, I'm not going to stop the cut in the middle, but I can stop the cut right here, and then from here I just pull it back into an outside guard. Okay, so as we saw before, we actually start in a guard, and we finish in the guard. So if I'm doing this in a continuous movement, as a cut 3 done. So drop the sword, cut, recover to outside guard. From here, we're going to do those exercises as well, but basically, this is going to be a cut 3. And you're probably wondering, but Hui, you just did the cut 3 starting on an outside guard. Can't I do that? Yes, you can. Basically, every single cut can originate from inside guard or outside guard. He teaches exactly this way at the beginning of the manual, but you can actually do it from any other guard that you prefer. I believe that he does this because it's just easier for you, if you're in an inside guard, to drop the point instead of having to compensate from here to drop the point from an outside guard. You still need to go through that extra step, but he's basically cutting one thing in between. Okay? Make sense? I'm going to show you the close-up of the fingers next. To do cut 4, Ruben's favorite. Ruben is going to actually be teaching this one.
No.
Of course he isn't.
Yes.
Yes, thank you. So basically you're going to start on an outside guard, and you're going to drop the point. Instead of dropping it to the outside, you're basically going to drop it to the inside. And then from here, you're going to use the same 3 fingers again, surprise, surprise, to then cut. You make an ascending cut, and then you can go into an outside guard, but the movement here would naturally bring you to an inside guard. So outside guard, drop the point, cut, inside guard. Okay? Outside, drop the cut. Basically, where is your opening now? The opening that you need to protect the inside. So from here, just bring it to the inside line. Okay, it's the same logic that we applied to cut 1, 2, 3, and now 4. It's you cut and you cover the opening that you just created. Okay, make sense?
Yes.
It's basically the same thing for cut 3, except it's a mirror. All right. So if we go over, for example, cut 1, start on outside, go to inside, cut. What's the opening? It's all the way over there. Bring it back, cover. Cut 2. We're going to, we start inside. We cut. My opening is actually on the inside. I could come to the inside, but for whatever reason, he goes to the outside. Cut 3. Drop the point. Cut. Opening on the outside. Protect the outside. Cut 4. Drop. Cut. And protect the inside. Make sense?
Yes.
So the same thing can be done with a broadsword, with a saber, with a spadroon, such as this one. It's very much the same thing. So you're going to basically just be using your fingers. So cut 3, you're going to go to the inside, drop the point, and as you can see, my ring finger, my middle finger, ring finger, and pinky finger are all released. And from here, I'm going to use these to basically whirl my sword up and cut. You don't need an extreme amount of power to be able to cut with a saber. You might need that. Oh, thank you, Guillaume. So I'm going to do that again. Yay! So cut 3, you go into an inside guard, you drop the point, you cut with those fingers, with those 3 fingers, which are basically released, and then you go into an outside guard. You don't need a lot of power to cut with any of these swords, especially a saber, because the curvature would allow you to cut very, very easily. But that is pretty much it. So again, inside guard, drop the point, middle, ring, pinky finger are released. Use these 3 fingers to basically cut upwards. Okay. If you are doing a cut 4, drop the sword towards the inside. Same 3 fingers, cut up, and recover to inside guard. Okay. Facing you guys, cut 3 and 4. Cut 3 inside guard. Drop the points. You're basically going to already end up with the cuts properly aligned. Use the 3 fingers. Cut, go back to outside guard. Since you're already on outside guard, why not as well do cut 4? From here, drop the guard, use the 3 fingers again to basically cut upwards, and then conclude by going into inside guard. Make sense?
Yes.
Yep. Let's go do some exercises then. Any questions? No? So reason why I don't like using the Le Marchand plates to do the cutting, they're still useful. I don't like them because he's using one of these, which is a 1796 light cavalry. I have the synthetic version because it's less murdery. But with this sword, and I invite you guys to try it, there is no way in hell you are going to be able to cut and stop the cut in the middle. The pullback is just too much. So when you're cutting with this one, you need to perform the cut going through.
Okay.
Okay? So whichever cut I'm doing, I will always need to stop the cut, to basically continue the cuts. Even if I'm doing a cut 3 or a cut 4, it's always going to be, it needs to be a rotational cut from the rest. Okay? So if I try to stop it, especially in how the plate is described, I would need to stop it back here, which kind of makes absolute total sense. It's the only way that I can actually stop it. But if I do stop it, it's going to break my wrist. So the way that he teaches the cut is by cutting all the way through. And Roworth starts with this because he teaches good edge alignment mechanics. Okay, so you really need to make a proper edge alignment to cut and then conclude the cut. So this means that when I shift over to, let's say, spadroon or broadsword or any lighter sword, oh thank God, I'm going to be able to cut and stop my cut exactly where I want it to stop. Okay? So, I'll talk more about stopping cuts, lunging, and why this is useful next. For the time being, let's go over cuts 3 and 4. Alright? So, if you're doing cut 3 and cut 4 with the light cav and you're following the Le Marchand plates, it's only natural that he tends to compensate a little bit. So for example, if I do a cut 3, he is going to finish, for example, he finishes usually like this because it really needs a lot of power to recover. So between the artistic interpretation of finishing like this and the reality of concluding the cut, I think it kind of makes sense that he has to basically cut and expose a little bit of the arm to then recover. It's only natural. For cut 4, you also have the same thing, and the tendency is to rise a little bit more because the necessity requires so.